Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Bux. Let's get real. You've tried everything. It was hard, wasn't it? Rejecting your own life, pushing aside your priorities just for them. You've bent over backward to make them see your worth, to make them miss you, to show them how much you care. You were there, always on call, always accommodating, always the one who'd drop everything in a heartbeat. You were kind. You were there at their beck and call, always the one to step up, never the one to say no. But what have they done to you? They treated you like a doormat, walked all over you as if you didn't matter. They rejected you, disrespected you, took every bit of care you gave and tossed it aside, like yesterday's news. You tried to talk it out. You tried to reason. Heck, maybe you even begged, just hoping for a scrap of acknowledgement. You were nice, kind, and you gave them all. You could. You felt the sting of rejection again and again, and the harder you tried, the more invisible you felt. It's like they were too blind to see your value. You were too at ease in your presence, and too careless with your heart. Yet no strategy worked, not a single one, except for the final and most effective one: silence. You no longer lit up their phone with texts, answered calls, or simply checked in. It's as if you've simply vanished. The silence my friend is about to bestow upon you is more potent than any words could ever convey. It amplifies the impact of your words. Your silence is suffocating them. They may put on a brave front in public, pretending that everything is the same without you, but behind closed doors they are crying and reaching out, and their pride is keeping them trapped in that silent regret. The realization that they've lost something they'll never replace haunts them. In private, it's all smiles, but in public, it's nothing but darkness and the crushing weight of what they threw away in this moment, feeling the regret but hiding it. Silence is my greatest strength. Say it with conviction. Silence is my superpower. I assure you that silence is indeed a superpower. Allow me a moment to demonstrate its power. Before we begin, let's engage in a short exercise. Click the like button to let me know if our lessons are truly changing your life, and then leave today's affirmation in the comments section. This is important, people, because, as our wise friend Epictetus once said, don't shy away from this moment. It's your life, and you have this ability. So why not make it clear and put it down? For once and for all, quiet is my superpower. First, tell yourself what you would be, and then do the necessary action. Let's seize this opportunity and remain still, as I will show you in the coming minutes how silence transforms the entire dynamic, leaving others bewildered and compelled to confront the emptiness they feel when you're not there to uphold their ego. They'll see how silence can be your loudest comeback. Let's dive music in. So folks, before we dive into their situation and what's coming for them after you've chosen silence over disrespect, let's address something else that might already be eating away at you. I know you love them a lot, despite the disrespect, despite them rejecting you like an old habit. They think they can just shake off. And because of that love, you're afraid that if you stay silent too long, they'll just forget about you. I can see some of you nodding your head right now, thinking, what if they move on? That fear, I know, feels like it's tearing you apart. But here's what I want you to understand. They're not going anywhere. You might see them wearing that mask, putting on that show that says, I'm fine, like your silence doesn't faze them. But believe me, that's just a front behind that mask. There's a whole storm brewing. They're feeling the absence of your presence every single day. Even if they pretend not to care, your silence has already sunk in deeper than any words you could have thrown at them. And here's the truth. If they can't see your worth now in this silence, then let's be real. They never valued it in the first place. And do you really want someone in your life who needs constant reminding to see your value? You deserve better than someone who only realizes what they have when they're about to lose it. This silence is a test. People, a moment of clarity for both you and them. If they are too blind to recognize your value, even in your absence, then it's clear they don't deserve your love, attention, or energy. Hold on, and let's explore what's next for them because, believe me, they are already feeling the effects. It's best to hit the like button now if you haven't already, because it helps spread the word about this video to more people who need guidance, and there's nothing better than helping others in need. Firstly, acknowledge that you're no longer with us. Don't undervalue the impact of this moment. People in the beginning of their journey may be maintaining appearances and acting as though nothing is wrong, but deep down, they are beginning to sense that the familiar warmth and presence they once took for granted have slipped out of their grasp. We usually make a big mistake when they realize they can no longer reach out and pull you back in the silence. Most of us experience a wave of sympathy or uncertainty at this point, and we begin to wonder if we should check in or let them know we're here. However, when the pressure gets too much, we break down and reach out, revealing the silence we've worked so hard to create in the hopes that they will finally realize how much they mean to us. Let's be clear, though, that every time you break the silence, you also break the power of your absence. This is not the time to check in or reassure them of your presence. Silence is about allowing them to sit with their own thoughts, mistakes, and emptiness. Then, some of us make the mistake of believing that our only responsibility now is to sit in our rooms and watch our phones, wondering when they'll wake up and realize what they've lost. However, I want you to understand that silence doesn't mean forcing them to acknowledge your absence. Instead, it's about progressing in life, improving yourself, growing stronger, sharper, and more resilient, and seeing this as an opportunity to transform into the person you once were. Doesn't just sit around, but actively grows even in the face of their absence. Now let's go a little deeper. What if they love you? What if their absence wakes them up and they realize how valuable you are? Imagine that your silence allows them to understand how they really feel. It's like planting a seed in silence without any watering from you. If they truly care, they'll feel the impact of your absence more deeply than anything else. They'll feel a pull and an unquestionable urge to fill the space you left, and that's when real change occurs. However, what if they don't love you? What if your silence means nothing to them? Let it reveal that truth now rather than later. Sometimes silence shines a light on what is real and what is just smoke. You're here to see if people can stand in that silence, sense your absence, and appreciate what they had, not to make them value you. A lack of need to reach back for you may indicate that they weren't worth your energy. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "If you want a true friend, break away from the ones who would not grieve to lose you." This is the power of this moment. They're either moving on or they're grieving your absence, and either way, you win because you're discovering who truly deserves your time, love, and commitment. Picture yourself standing tall, facing forward, not looking back. As you go forward, the universe has a way of drawing the right people's attention. If they're the right person, they'll catch up. If not, you're better off walking away and never looking back. I put myself before their attention, and my path is my own. Declare it out loud, commit it to paper, claim it as your own, and accompany me as we embark on this journey. Right now, we can't tell if they really love you or if they'll return, and this silence is just the beginning of revealing those answers. The truth and their true feelings will come out in stages, so don't rush or assume. Let the silence do its work and let them feel your absence. We're just beginning our journey, and the answers will come in due course. Each step forward is a step toward clarity, and trust me, you're going to see the power that silence has over those who underestimated you. Remember, this is just the beginning. The second step involves donning the mask of indifference. Now that this stage is approaching, they will act calm but indifferent, making you question everything. Sharing content on social media, laughing with friends, maybe even talking about how much better they're doing. It's all an act, a facade, but trust me, this can be the most confusing and painful part of the journey for you. This mask of indifference can make you question whether your silence is doing anything at all, or worse, if you meant anything to them in the first place. Let's get one thing straight. If they're acting indifferent, it doesn't mean they're unaffected. No, not at all. This mask of indifference is often the first line of defense people put up when they feel a shift in control. Think of it like a game of poker. They're bluffing, pretending like your silence is nothing but background noise. Just to maintain a sense of control, they're putting on a front, trying to make you believe they're perfectly fine without you. And this is where many of us fall into a trap. We start thinking, if they're really this unaffected, maybe I should reach out. Maybe they don't miss me at all. But let me tell you, this stage is when your silence starts to get under their skin, even if they're doing their best to deny it. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him. In this case, your absence, your silence is revealing something in them. They're not ready to face, so instead of dealing with it, they're wearing a mask, acting like they don't care to protect their ego. Imagine their indifference like a shield, something they hold up to block out their own feelings. They're hoping that by pretending to feel nothing, you might be the one to break first, to reach out, to slip back into their life on their terms. It's like a tug of war where they're digging in their heels, but all the while they're losing their balance. They're in a silent. When you break your silence, you give them what they want: control, and your silence is only effective if you let it do its job. The moment you step in, even just to make sure they're okay, you hand them the rein. Panic is hiding behind this mask of indifference, praying that you don't see the cracks forming underneath. At this juncture, it's crucial for you to maintain your composure, as the mask is merely a facade, and they are profoundly aware of your absence, despite their attempts to conceal it. You're not here to play their game or rescue them from their discomfort. Think of it as a silent storm that is brewing. Despite their seemingly normal lives, they are experiencing significant discomfort. This phase also tests the strength of your resolve. It's simple to think that your only responsibility is to wait in silence, but there's more to it than that. Your silence is powerful, yes, but when combined with action, it becomes unstoppable. The emptiness settles the mask. It's a desperate attempt to convince themselves that they don't need you and that they can go on without you. But deep down, they're starting to feel hollow. Instead of sitting around waiting for them to notice, focus on yourself. Imagine it like forging steel each day. You work on yourself. You're strengthening the person you're becoming, and that's something they can't ignore. What if they love you? If there's real love behind that mask, your silence will bring it out, drawing out emotions. They can't hide forever. When they see you growing, not breaking, they'll start feeling the sting of what they're losing. That mask of indifference will start to feel heavy, uncomfortable, because they're suppressing their real feelings. They'll feel a pull and ache, something they can't ignore, as your silence becomes the loudest reminder of their own emptiness. But what if they don't love you? What if there's no emotion behind that mask? Then this silence is a gift to yourself, a way of revealing a truth. You need to see the last thing you want is to pour energy into someone who doesn't truly care. If they're truly indifferent, then you know where you stand. And that clarity is worth more than anything else. As Marcus Aurelius once said, it is not events that disturb people. It is their judgments concerning them. If they're unmoved by your absence, let that judgment guide you to let go fully without looking back. So here's the truth. Whether they're hiding real feelings or genuinely indifferent, your job is to stay focused on yourself. Don't let their Mars throw you off. Keep building, keep growing, and let them sit with their own discomfort if they miss you. They'll come back on their own if they don't. Then they've freed up space in your life for someone who truly values you. You affirm to yourself, I am unshaken by their indifference. I am building my own strength and worth. Say it out loud. Remind yourself of it every time doubt. Creeps, this is your chance to demonstrate that you are no longer the person who is influenced by their games or wounded by their mask. Every day you are becoming stronger, more resilient and sharper. So stay with me as the journey continues to intensify. If you think that this facade of indifference will endure forever, reconsider. We are about to uncover additional layers, and soon the truth will surface in ways that even they can't hide. So cling on tightly, there's much more ahead. I truly want to talk to you at this point. Tell me where you are at this moment. Have you made the audacious decision to remain silent, or are you still struggling with doubt? I'm always available to help you through this, so please feel free to join me in the comments if you're confused or have a question. If you have nothing specific to say, just leave a brief note in the comments. It will let me know that you're here and dedicated to this journey, and it also helps us keep the conversation going for everyone. Number 3 is experiencing the weight of regret, and we are approaching a point where they are unable to conceal it. Initially, they tried to hide their emotions by maintaining a calm demeanor, but now your silence is overwhelming them like a powerful wave, and they are starting to take notice. The emptiness, the void you left behind, and regret are encroaching like an unwelcome guest they can't ignore at this stage. They'll replay every moment and every opportunity they had to treat you better, to show appreciation and keep you close. Standing on the edge of a cliff, looking back over everything they took for granted, they're haunted by what they chose to ignore, realizing that each thoughtless action, each moment of disrespect, is now costing them something they didn't think they'd lose you. As the great philosopher Seneca said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Right now they're feeling the end of what they had with you, and it's sinking in deeply. They might not say it out loud, but trust me, they're feeling that weight. It's not just loneliness, it's the sting of knowing they had something real, something valuable, and they let it slip away. Imagine regret like a shadow, following them always, just a step behind, creeping closer. The longer you stay silent, this isn't just about missing you, it's about realizing they made a choice, whether consciously or not, to push you away. And now, without your presence, without the safety net of knowing you're there, they're forced to face the truth. They undervalued someone they should have cherished. This is where most people will try to push regret away. They might keep up their social front, still acting unaffected, but it's a mask they can't wear forever inside. That regret is like a quiet storm growing stronger with each memory, each reminder of what they lost. And they know they can't just undo this. The ball is no longer in their court. It's up to you now. They're no longer in control. And that helplessness is part of the regret they're feeling. So intensely, if they truly care, this regret will start to weigh them down, leading them to moments of self-reflection and humility. But if they don't, that's a different story. Because at least now you're seeing their true colors. Remember for a minute that I am more valuable than their regret. I put my needs ahead of anyone else's fleeting emotions. Say it out loud if you need to let it sink in. You're not here to wait around for someone to figure out your worth. Their regret is theirs to carry, and your strength is yours to grow. Stay with me, because this journey is far from over. Regret is only the beginning of what they'll feel as they face the full impact of losing someone they never expected would leave, so hold tight. There's more truth yet to be revealed. Number 4. Trying to replace you with someone new. At this stage, they're beginning to realize the impact of your absence, but instead of confronting their own actions, they might take a shortcut. They start looking for someone new, hoping to fill the gap you left with a replacement. This stage can sting for you, watching them jump into a new relationship or fill their time with others as if they can simply recreate the connection you shared. But don't be fooled. This is an escape, not a solution. It's like trying to put a bandage over a deep wound. They're hoping that by spending time with someone new, they'll avoid facing the regret. They're using the presence of someone else to distract themselves from the emptiness and reality that you're no longer there. While it may seem like they're happier or unaffected, remember that new people aren't a cure for what they're running from. According to philosopher Alan de Bon, people only become genuinely intriguing when they begin to rattle the bars of their cages rather than rattling their own bars. They hope that anything that doesn't quite fit would be sufficient to fill the gap, but they know deep down that this isn't the solution. Despite breaking free from their own constraints, they continue to stay in that cage, hoping that a new face will divert their attention from reality. But that's all it is. The show involves them posting on social media, going out with friends, and flaunting their new relationships to prove they've moved on. They are putting on a mask to keep from feeling the real sting of your absence. And while it might look convincing at first, the truth is that you can't replace something real with something temporary. They're trying to fill a gap that only self-reflection and growth can actually heal. Seeing them with new people can make you question your own worth. You might start wondering if they ever cared at all, or if it's that easy for them to replace you. But remember, this isn't about you. It's about their inability to sit with discomfort. While a new connection may appear as a replacement, it's often merely a temporary measure to pass the time and manage emotions. If they fail to realize this on their own, it indicates that they never truly valued you. If they're seeking new connections, it's a sign of their fear of silence rather than their commitment to genuine growth or understanding what they've lost. You cannot duplicate or substitute my irreplaceable value. Say it with conviction. Their actions don't define your worth. In fact, this is where you see the truth of who they are and what they're willing to settle for. And remember, not everyone has the courage to face their own mistakes. Some people would rather hide behind the comfort of a new connection than confront the reality of losing someone irreplaceable. So stay with me, because the journey continues, and as they move from distraction to real understanding, the layers of truth will only get deeper. Hold tight. This is far from over. Number 5, when their world starts falling apart. Now we've reached the stage where their world truly begins to crumble. At first, they tried to act unaffected, putting on a mask of indifference. Then they attempted to distract themselves with new people, hoping to fill the void left by your absence. But there's no escaping it anymore. Their life is starting to unravel. See, when you were around, you were their constant, their safety net. Whether they realized it or not, you brought a stability they counted on, even if they took it for granted. But now, without that foundation, cracks are starting to show. They may have thought they could continue life as usual, but slowly and surely, things are beginning to fall apart. It's as if they're trying to hold water in their hands, but no matter how tightly they squeeze, it slips away. As the ancient Stoic Epicus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. They're beginning to feel the weight of their own wants and desires, realizing that no possession, no temporary fling, no distraction can replace the sense of security and depth you brought in. Realizing that no possession, no fleeting fling, and no distraction can replace the sense of they have been using false confidence and avoidance tactics. But without your presence as the foundation, they are beginning to see the consequences of their choices, which are beginning to weigh on them. They are unable to articulate their feelings, but you understand why. You were the one who provided them with stability. Now they're floating aimlessly, feeling the chaos they created. Perhaps their friendships are starting to feel hollow. Perhaps their work has lost its meaning. They're restless and unfocused, missing that inner calm they once found in your presence. People often experience a sense of loss during this stage. They struggle to let go of their usual distractions and routines, confront an uncomfortable truth, and struggle with the loss of someone who truly mattered. However, sometimes people must experience the loss of something valuable in order to realize how much they relied on it. This acts as a crucial awakening for them. It is easy to feel sorry for them or even want to intervene and help, but remember that this is their journey, not yours. They must experience the impact of losing you in order to face the reality of their actions without your support as a crutch. They are beginning to realize that the world they created without appreciating you was never as stable as they believed. So hold fast and remind yourself that I am the stability they lost, but my strength is mine. Let this affirmation ground you as their world collapses. It is a testament to the impact you had and to the reality they created for themselves. Please stay with me, because as their world falls apart, the truth will become clearer. We're just getting started. Struggling in the quiet emptiness at this stage, the distractions are fading. The new connections feel empty, and now they're left in silence, a silence that feels more like a void, an empty space where they once felt your presence. It's here in this silent void that they begin to struggle gone, or the masks, the pretenses and the quick fixes. They're finally left alone with nothing but the echoes of their choices and the quiet reminder of what they've lost. This is the stage where they start to feel an ache that words can't quite capture. It's a hollow, goring feeling, a voice they can't fill. For the first time, they have to confront the reality of your absence. Without any buffer or distraction, they thought they could push past this, that the discomfort would fade with time. But this silence is persistent, and the emptiness isn't going anywhere. Picture it like being lost in a desert. They're wandering, searching for any source of relief, a drop of comfort, something to quench this aching empty. But in this silence, there's nothing but the realization that they've lost someone irreplaceable. No matter how they try to move forward, they keep coming back to the same barren space, feeling the weight of your absence pressed down on them. As the philosopher Lao once said, silence is a source of great strength. Your silence has now become their weakness, their struggle. They once saw your presence as a given, something always there for them. Now it's become a haunting absence, a reminder that they were given something rare and valuable, and they let it slip away. The void is a unique kind of pain. It's not loud or dramatic. It's a quiet, relentless ache that only grows as time goes on. They might try to cover it up to keep busy, but at this point, the silence is everywhere. When they awaken and find themselves thinking alone, they sense it, feel it when they go about their day. Unable to contact you the way they used to, or when they lie in bed at night and stare at the ceiling with no messages or reminders of your care, just the empty space they once took for granted. This stage is difficult for them, and it may not be easy for you to watch, as you may be tempted to reach out to see how they're doing, to see if they've realized what they've lost. But keep in mind that this is their struggle, not yours, and that they must fully experience this silent void in order to completely comprehend the weight of what they let go. What if they truly valued you? If they did, this silence will resonate with them deeply, stirring up feelings they can't ignore and forcing them to consider how they got here and whether they ever cared. This void shows the value and loyalty they didn't see, but if they didn't value you, this silence will show that, because if they can pass through it unaffected, they were never as invested as you were. In any case, this silence will show them the truth. It's a mirror that shows them the reality of their decisions without anyone protecting them from the repercussions. Stay with me, because as they struggle in this void, clarity will only grow, and we're getting closer to the point where the truth will emerge in ways that even they can't ignore the silence. Hold on to this affirmation. My silence speaks of my strength and worth. Let it remind you that your silence isn't a weakness, Rather, it's a powerful choice. The final stage has arrived, with the void preparing them for the moment when they must confront what they have lost. Hold on tight, as this is far from the breakdown or breakthrough of number 7. After all the masks, diversions, and attempts to fill the void, they reach a point where they can no longer ignore the truth. At this critical juncture, they either crumble or triumph. They must either face what they've lost, accept responsibility for their actions, and grow. Or they can remain in denial and allow regret to weigh them down forever. The loneliness and the regret. The quiet. It's a slow, quiet unraveling that can consume them if they're unwilling to face the reality of their own choices. A mixture of guilt and loss burdens them, causing them to spiral instead of moving forward, feeling as though they've missed an irreplaceable chance. The pain they once believed to be temporary now feels permanent, and every attempt to divert themselves only makes it worse. Others may take a different path, seeing your absence as a loss and a waking call. If they have the courage, they begin to break through, realizing where they went wrong, and for the first time, they may actually grow from it. They can perceive this stage as a pivotal moment. They can either allow the silence to define them, delving deeper into regret and resentment, or they can allow it to transform them, akin to iron forged in fire. However, not everyone is willing to summon the strength and humility that growth requires. This is where the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius's words resonate deeply. When something gets in the way of progress, it becomes an obstacle. Your silence served as a barrier that forced them to either change or stay the same. If they succeed, it's because they gave themselves permission to learn. If they fail, it's because they were unable to handle the challenge. The excellent thing about this stage is that, regardless of the route they take, you are no longer responsible for their journey, growth, or lack thereof. This isn't about waiting for them to see your value. If they grow, they may return with respect or an apology. You took the courageous step of walking away in silence and giving them the space to face themselves. You've done your part. For this last step, leave a brief commitment in the comments section. I am free now because this is your moment. You're stepping into your own strength and leaving their journey behind. Relieve yourself of expectations that they'll change. The journey was about you reclaiming your strength and them facing their shortcomings. As we come to the end of this journey, keep in mind that every action you took was about regaining your strength and establishing boundaries that reflect your true worth, regardless of whether they recognize what they've lost or not. You've changed and grown, and you're now free to move forward. Clarity, self-assurance, and autonomy. This journey wasn't easy, but notice the strength you discovered within yourself. Now is the time to look forward. If this video spoke to you, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with others who should hear this message. Together, let's continue to spread the power of resilience and self-worth. Before you leave a comment below letting us know how you're doing and whether you're open to a new relationship, or are you enjoying your independence right now. Keep in mind that you've come a long way and that this is only the beginning of the freedom and fulfillment you deserve.